What up, y'all? Not really sure what happened there, but it's all good. Wait, what? Yeah, there we go.
You just gonna stand there? Brought out only the good stuff for you, seeing as you got that whistle.
Hey, I've been waiting to get my lucky hammer fixed for days.
You haven't done anything useful like getting rid of any bristlebacks, though, have you? Take your time. I promise you won't be disappointed.
Oh, bet. There we go. Okay.
this fixed?
I can fix your tools. Afraid there's no fixing you.
I am most certainly a
Nora in the dance. Now I've seen everything.
I've heard of your adventure. My armor can help. Remedies to trade.
The way to Barren Light is clear. Get moving.
We're not errand vanguardsmen. I will move only when the captain
When I've
says.
cleared out all the bristlebacks, which I have. Captain's orders.
So they're okay.
Banged up, but breathing. And waiting up ahead for you.
But I was supposed to have 3 escorts.
I'm off to Barren Light, buddies. Like Aloy said, Captain's orders. You can stay here.
Abandoned to the riffraff? I think not.
Guess you're coming with me then. See you there, Aloy.
Well, now that that's done, the embassy can finally get underway. If I can get through it. Be able to track down Silence. Hades. Maybe even a Gaia backup. Guess I could head straight for Barren Light. Or poke around the Daunt some more first.
Welcome back, Savior. Here for some practice?
Eyes up here, brother!
Looking sharp as ever. Yeah!
Ignoring me again!
Just
my
you
drink.
keep
Don't
blurring
you
it
think-
out.
Oh, there it is.
Walked it off, huh?
Ever wonder what is keeping the sun up?
Is that a Nora? Woo! How goes it, Hammerhead? But first... yeah!
Or on the other hand. Oh, wait. What's that on my hand?
You look worse than you did yesterday. Yeah, you! Must be someone around here worth talking to. Yeah! Ignoring me again?
The savior of Meridian wins!
Thought you were working
Oh, this'll really boil their broth. I'll add a sprinkle of chili to their desserts. How perverse.
Hey there, flame hair.
Aloy. Back for more, huh?
Another round here?
Heard you've been busy. As for me, I'm gonna need a few more of these before I get back to the forge.
Is there something on your mind?
Well, things aren't as bad since you got this place running again. But we still got Olvin grating the gears about his concession decree.
If you don't put that down, I'll come over there and show you how that game ends.
Anyway, right now, I'm just worried about those refugees out from Sunfall. To come all this way enduring Forge knows what.
Shadow Carja refugees. What are they doing in the Daunt?
Looking for a new home, I gather. Southwest of here. And therein lies the problem. A Stormbird crashed up on the cliffs last week, and Talon Cleanbrokers had his eye on the salvage ever since. But the refugees have barred entrance. Mustn't interrupt their sun-scorched ritual. Something about finding a twilight path.
Huh. I never heard them talk about that before.
Yeah, well, these particular Shadow Carja are an odd bunch. But overall, they're peaceful folk. Not that it matters to Talon. He'll crack some heads to get to that salvage. Maybe you could swing by, convince him to set up camp somewhere else?
What else can you tell me about the Shadow Carja refugees?
Well, they don't call themselves Shadow Carja for one. At least, not anymore. They're some other brand of sun-crazed. But whatever side of the sun they're on, they're peaceful through and through. Don't seem to want for nothing except a place to live, pray, and just enough food to keep from starving.
So they're just camped outside by a trail, blocking entry to a wrecked Stormbird, waiting for... what, exactly?
Don't rightly know, but I'll tell you this. Should they ever wise up and salvage it, a Stormbird heart is worth a lot. And if they get there first, then by Ostrom law, it's theirs. Not that Tolan Cleanbrokers ever lost sleep over any law-breaking.
Who is this Tolland Cleanbroker?
Just some chuff-huffing pondsman. Got a shop here in town. Lived in Chainscrape since there was a Chainscrape. He and Ulvin go back a ways. Like a pair of coals and a campfire, those two.
So Tolland works for Ulvin?
Ha! Ulvin might think so, but Tolland scrapes up his own scams. And he ain't the type to let a few refugees get between him and Stormbird salvage.
So the Bristlebacks in the Daunt.
You're a pig. Blasted things, those Bristlebacks. They just showed up one day, rampaging around the valley like they exploded out of a forge. Lost some good people. But bless the bellows, you cleared them out and got this place working again. That put a dent in Ulvin's plans. Now, if only there was some way to smash them all together and run them out of town.
But how could Bristlebacks and the Daunt help Ulvin?
2 words. Concession decree. Since no one knows where the Bristlebacks came from, Ulvin has taken to blaming the Carja for them. He's hoping to dig up enough old resentments to get a strike going until the concession's signed. This is just his latest attempt. He's been trying to rile up the workers since the day he rolled into town.
About that, I think the Bristlebacks came out of Ulvin's old mine.
Now there's a spark that could light a fire. Can you prove it?
I'm working on it.
By the forge. Grab my ear if you nail it down.
Well, if I'm up that way, I'll talk to the refugees. Try to convince them to move.
Much appreciated. They have it rough. Don't need Tolland making it rougher.
Petra said Tolland has a shop here in Chainscrape. I could have a word with him first.
Aloy, please, have a seat. I knew I'd make a strike player out of you yet. How about this time I tell you how to use a board's terrain to your advantage? This one's got all the different terrain. How to use them can mean the difference between victory and defeat. Terrain mainly affects your machine's combat power. As you know, when fighting an opponent's machine, you compare its combat power to yours. The higher your machine's combat power, the more damage you can do. So finding the right terrain is an essential strategy for overpowering your opponent. Here, I'll show you. Grab that piece to your left and move to attack my machines. Now let's take a look at your machine's combat power. Combat power is the sum of a machine's attack power and the value of the terrain it's standing on. Since your machine is attacking, it's using its 2 points of attack power. It's also standing on forest terrain with a value of 1 point. Add those together, and your machine has 3 points of combat power. My machine, it's also not attacking, which means their attack points aren't in play. So my combat power is 0. This means your machine can do 3 points of damage. Go ahead and test it out. There you go. Now, choose. It can also help defend your machines from attack. Grab your other piece and place it in front of my second machine. Since your machine is attacking, it's using its 2 points of attack power. It's standing on grassland terrain. This terrain has a value of 0. This means your machine's combat power adds up to 2 points. My machine can't use their attack powers since they're defending their position. But they have the higher ground. They're standing on forest terrain, which is worth 1 point. This means my combat power adds up to 1 point. Now, the front of my machine is colored blue. This means that the spot you're about to attack has armor protecting it. Which means my machine gets an extra point, giving it a total of 2 combat power points. If we compare the combat power of both machines, you'll see that you won't be able to do any damage. Whenever you're unable to top an opponent's combat power, you can still choose to attack and break their machine's defenses instead. Go ahead, try it out and see what happens. Ha, see? When you break a machine's defenses, you can knock it backwards. Sure, both our machines will receive 1 point of damage, but knocking my machine off that terrain makes it more vulnerable to attacks. Not only that, if my machine had been blocked from moving backwards, it would have received an extra point of damage. And if my machine had been blocked by another one of my pieces, that machine would have received damage as well. That's why breaking a machine's defenses is a great way to deal damage to several pieces at once. Useful, right? Okay, now go ahead and end your turn. There's still one more thing I want to show you. All right, as we've seen, the higher the terrain, the more it'll add to your machine's combat power. However, there are 2 other terrains that work a little differently. This is what we call a chasm. Only flying machines can be placed on those. But it'll take away 2 combat points if you do, so be wary. This is marsh terrain. Landing on it will take away 1 combat power point from most machines. It'll also keep your machine from moving for the rest of the turn. Here, let me show you. Grab that machine on your left. See? All you can do now is wait for your next turn to move again. Or you can overcharge your machine to get out of there. You can still attack any nearby enemies so you're not completely helpless. Well, I think that's enough yammering from me for now. Promise it'll all come in handy next time you play. Here for more tips? Why don't I tell you a bit more about the pieces we used to play? In a normal game, you get to choose which machines you place on the board. Each one is worth a certain number of setup points, and you can spend up to 10 assembling your army. Knowing what each machine brings to the game and building an army that matches your strategy is the key to becoming a machine strike master. When assembling your army, there are a few things to keep in mind. First and foremost, you can never have more than 4 of the same machine on the board at the same time. With that in mind, most players would choose machines based on how far they can move or how much attack power they have. But a real strike player will be looking at a machine's type and skills. Let's take a quick look, shall we? Pick up that machine on your left. All right, let's talk about the different ways in which a machine attacks its opponents. In other words, its machine type. If you look at your notes, you'll see this machine here is a melee type. You can also tell by the shape of the base the piece stands on. A melee type machine attacks the first enemy within range, and no one else. We've seen this plenty of times, so just move that piece forward so I can show you some more stuff. Great, now grab your other machine. Looks like we've got ourselves a gunner type machine here. This means they'll only hit the farthest enemy in their attack range. Let's move that machine forward and end your turn so we can take a look at the rest of the pieces. Let's go with this piece first. This is a ram-type machine. Attack an enemy with it, and it'll push the piece backwards. Like this. See, now my machine has taken over your machine's spot on the board. This is a great way to take the advantage away from your opponent if they have the higher ground. Looks like we have one more piece to look at. Now this is a beauty of a piece, a dash-type machine. When it attacks, it'll move to the end of its attack range and damage every machine in its path, including your own. So make sure you take a good look at the board before you send it off to the races. You should also make sure it's able to finish its attack on an empty spot. Otherwise, you won't be able to attack at all. Here, I'll show you. Look, it even rotated your piece. A nifty little piece you'll definitely want in your set. If you look at your notes, you'll notice this particular machine has one of the skills I mentioned before. There's quite a few of those, and we haven't even looked at all the machine types yet. But I'm pretty sure you've got more important things to do, so I made you a list. It's got all the tips and tricks we talked about, too. I think that about does it for now, so if you want to play a real game, just let me know. Good luck. Your move, Red. Time to get serious. You're up, Red. Come up. That's it for me. Okay, let's see. Your turn. One piece left. That sure dampens the forge. My turn. That's the game. You up for a rematch? Let's do this. Time to make my move. Board's all yours. You got me down to one piece. I am impressed. I'm up. Board's all yours. Oh, bold choice. You got me. Fair and square. Here we go. That's it for me. My turn. You're up, Red. Time to get serious. Your move, Red. You're just hammering down on my pieces now. Time to make my move. Well, that's done now. One less piece on the board. Okay, let's see. Your move, Red. Okay, let's see. Not looking good for you, Red. I won! Oh, but I'll play you again if you want. You know where to find me, Red.
Recovering from my injuries, that's
Jeff's back to his old self.
about the other guy.
It's Hammer Strike Steve.
Hey, work like got somewhere to be.
How goes it, Hammerhead?
Madam!
I'm sorry, I'll be right with you.
Okay, I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm saying it's overkill.
It's a weapon. Kill is the point.
Not if it blows the user's arm off. Oh, just stop talking.
Where were we? Ah! So, you look like someone who's always searching for a new weapon. Am I right?
Actually,
But you're just nuts. I am with a customer.
I'm not a customer.
I got it. Triple the powder. It'll blow a Strider sky high. Ba-boom. One shot kill. Guaranteed.
Maybe I am.
Then you are in the right place at the right time, Red.
How would you like to be the proud owner of the world's first machine-enhanced,
Explosive, done in one, machine wrecking,
yet perfectly safe, javelin thrower?
Are you two from around here?
Nah, the claim. Dad sent us out west in search of some unknown opportunity. Said we'll know it when we see it.
Sounds like you had other ideas.
Let's just say that opening another trading post for my parents isn't how I want to make my mark in this world. I imagine traveling alone must be nice.
So she's your partner?
my apprentice,
And my sister. She's why we're out here. There was an incident. Another incident.
Involving explosives?
Ba-boom! And Dad's precious homebrew. He shipped us out the next day.
Huh. Tell me more about this weapon of yours.
Saw a scroll when I was a kid by some Karja scholar who wandered out west. Had a scary drawing of a Tenakth warrior hunting with a kind of javelin thrower. Effective? Yes. Basic? Undoubtedly. But coming out here made me remember it, and I am on the brink of vastly improving the tool's archaic design.
Whereas I will perfect it.
I can use machine parts to enhance the user's throw, increase the projectile's velocity. Well, Boomer here is adamant that enhancing the projectile is better. Namely with explosive tips.
Boomsticks.
Why not both?
That could work. There's one small snag. I need the parts to make the first working model.
Well, for starters, I'll need charger horns. Intact.
Yeah, that. Just be sure to shoot them off before the machine goes down. Otherwise, they break. But the real innovation, and keep it to yourself, is a fang horn rib.
There's a mean one east of here. Blow it sky high.
Boomer! You get him for me. It's yours. My treat.
You have a deal.
If I had a spear like that, I could have beaten them Bristleback too.
Took you long enough.
It's you. The machine hunter that bailed out the Karja.
Never heard it put that way before.
What do you want?
Heard you've been hassling refugees up by the cliffs.
Yeah, well, you heard wrong. There's salvage up there. A Stormbird. Nailed him myself with a harpoon here in town. Not an easy shot if I do say so myself. It clipped its wing. And it crashed into the old tower up there. Killed it quick. Yeah, so if anyone's hassling anyone, it's the Shadow Karja filth that's blocking the way up to my claim.
And you're ready to crack some skulls to get to it?
No need. It's a raggedy bunch. Probably all starved before I have to lift a finger.
We'll see about that.
Oh yeah, we will, won't we? Now shop's closed to Karja lovers. On your blasted way.
That's it.